North Idaho. I'm the host of the North Idaho Arts and Adventure Radio Show, and we are about to have a great show with Pastor Steve Nicodemus and Cindy Darby, who is a counselor and our intern for therapy in our area, Brom Glidden. So we're going to have a great discussion about mental health in North Idaho, and I hope that you enjoy the show. Hello. Did I get all that right? At least my memory is still functional. This time of year, it can be very hard on people, Cindy, that a lot of times what we're looking at is dark days, shorter days, and it can have an effect on people, can't it?
It can. I often have people come in and say, it's sunny today, I feel better. And the truth is, there is a disorder called seasonal affective disorder that is diagnosable depression due to lack of sunlight, as we see in some of the northern latitudes, and is treatable with high-intensity light. But many people find through the winter that they're feeling more down, more sad, lack of focus and concentration, just unmotivated. And all of those are signs and symptoms of a low-level depression.
Now, Brom, you had also mentioned something about vitamin D. Vitamin D could be something that if we take it on a regular basis, can that also help to alleviate symptoms of depression?
Right. A lot of doctors, rather than prescribing an antidepressant nowadays, are prescribing vitamin D for people who work long hours indoors and don't get to see the sunlight and have that naturally produced in our body.
Very cool. People sometimes are very afraid of getting counseling, and one of the first places that people often turn to are their family counselor or their pastor in their church. And now you encounter that a lot, don't you, Pastor Steve?
Yeah, I guess you'd say that pastors are a bit of the frontline people, see people in crisis, sometimes in grief, especially because of the amount of funerals work we do and other work. And many times there's a stigma a bit about seeing a professional counselor, but maybe they'll all go talk to my pastor or that priest that I know or something like that.
You probably encounter that a lot in your profession, Pastor Steve.
Absolutely. I might add another one, and that is you lose your job, you lose your income. Huge amount of grief. And or as we were talking about earlier, the sun goes away. It's just dark. That's grief also. Grief is about loss. And how people respond to grief and how they process that really makes a huge difference in the way they are successful in life. Some people are in denial of grief. They pretend it isn't happening. They pretend nothing is ever going to change. The one thing that we do know that is constant is change. It's going to continue to change. We're going to continue to be threatened by that, if you would, or have to deal with it and respond to it. Some people are constantly trying to fix their life so that grief doesn't affect them. And I grew up in a German-American community where it was very important to simply never show your grief. And people would compliment the widow at the funeral, oh, she never cried, as if that was good. And grief can manifest itself, obviously, with tears, but also with anger. Anger at the person who left you, anger at what's happening to our country, anger at the weather, maybe ultimately anger at God. And a lot of times it's where it's stemming from. This world should be the way I want it, and it's not, so I'm angry. It can manifest itself with guilt. I'm having a hard time because I didn't say those things to Dad before he died. If only kind of work.
Reminds me of that song, Every Generation.
Yes. And finally, some people come to acceptance, and I think that's where people are able to be sad in appropriate times, or just sad when they need to be. And you're absolutely right about the tsunami. Some people are deeply affected just by watching the pictures on the internet or TV, and they need to process that and admit that they're having grief. That's just one of many examples.
But mental health and being stable can help save lives too. And one of the things I want to ask you is, how can a therapist with their own brokenness or their own limited life experience, like someone younger, counsel a person?
You know, Gary, I think that is such a good question. What I find now, I've been practicing almost 30 years, is my life experience often is what allows someone to be comfortable with me, realize I really do understand what they're going through. But I'd also like to have Brahm address that a bit, because I think some people may feel like, well, an intern, he's just getting out of school, he's got to be pretty young. Does he really have something to share?
I know. I want to tell you, though, I've talked with Brahm, and I find him amazing. And you know, well, anyway, Brahm, take it from here.
Well, it's very kind of you. You boost my ego greatly.
Thank you later.
One of the things that, because I'm a young guy starting out in a career, and I have faced the challenges of people saying, you know, you haven't gone through this same life experience I have. You're younger, or you haven't dealt with this life trauma that I have. How could you possibly help me? And the truth is I'm a therapist. I'm human. We all are. So
Right.
I've had similar life experiences that help me understand what grief is or what pain is. And I've also had a good deal of training, too, in the matter. An analogy I like to make for these people is a woman very pregnant, right about to give birth, grilling her doctor. Well, have you ever had a baby before? And that doctor does not need to have had a baby before in order to be good at delivering babies.